Hi everyone, comic book reviewer here. This time reviewing on Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Now, as you know, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is a 2004 fantasy film that was meant to be directed by So, who also directed A Little Princess from 1995, which I did cover, and instead had Chris Columbus for being producer. So you notice there's a little bit more of a different tone from the other two Harry Potter films. And the premise of the film is meant to take place in Harry's third year, where we see how Harry learns that an escaped convict from Azkaban, known as Sirius Black, has escaped, and learns more truths about him. We do see how Ron, Hermione, as well as Harry prepare themselves for their third year, and having to kind of deal with the Dementors, which are kind of these ghostly sort of prison wardens from Azkaban. And we also do kind of see how Harry learns that there's more truths about Sirius Black with Harry's parents. And I kind of feel the film really does show you how Harry kind of has to deal with not only with someone connected to his parents, but also an old friend who is meant to kind of be parents who are basically friends to Harry's parents, one of which being Professor Lupin. And I think his character, in my opinion, really does work, because I kind of see him as an uncle figure, or kind of the second uncle figure to Harry. And you can tell he really does care about him, and even offers to help him defend against the Dementors. And I think in my opinion, when you kind of got Michael Gambon playing Albus Dumbledore, you can tell he still tries to keep up to the same performance as Richard Harris. And I think the point of him sounding a little younger, but still having the same Dumbledore persona, really does work. And I think the point of the Dementors really do work as antagonistic foils. I think they're supposed to be kind of like represent our darkest fears and how we are meant to overcome them. And I think Hogwarts, in my opinion, still has some believable flaws. Because when you kind of got the Quidditch match happening in a thunderstorm, no one's really showing any concern or care that Quidditchers are getting injured or being put in danger. And I think when you got Harry trying to get his permission slips lined, and he's the only one not attending, you kind of think Professor McGonagall or the teachers would have allowed Harry to go into town with the other students, because it just makes you feel that Harry just feels left out and just feels beaten. And I think there's always been that moment where we do feel beaten when we can't go on a trip, either because of bad behaviour, or the teacher's not finding a way to work it out with us. And I kind of feel, yeah, in my opinion, still having Draco still a bit as an antagonistic foil in this one does work, as he still wants approval. He still wants people to be amazed by him. But it's just kind of clear his approval seeking just shows no concern or care for anyone. And I do admit my favourite character in the third film would definitely have to be Emma Thompson playing Sybil Terralani, who's meant to kind of be this hippy-dippy teacher, and I personally liked her character. Like, she's meant to kind of be a bit of an oddball. She's kind of like that teacher you had who just sees things a bit differently. And I think there's moments where you can tell you do feel sorry for Harry, like when you have Aunt Marge at the start berating Harry's parents, you can really understand why he's a little annoyed. Or there's moments where you can tell when he learns more truths about Sirius Black, and later learns that he has a connection with him, you can tell he really wants to live with him instead of the Dursleys, as I think there's moments where we did wanting to live with someone who was a much better parent or a better friend than what we had. And I think, to me, is that I can understand Roger Ebert giving it 3.5 stars, and even saying that it wasn't as good as the first two films, but I can kind of see what he's trying to say. But I think the point of the different direction, the different tone, and the different feel was meant to show Harry, Ron, and Hermione in a different environment, and kind of showing you that, yeah, the story is meant to get darker, and it's meant to show you that they're in a much different position than the last two films. So I think this film definitely deserves 2 thumbs ups. Still good and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.